y'all. It's Monday. It's kind of like dark in here. I mean, it's always dark in here, but I think it's like it's what's raining outside.
It's raining outside, so it's darker than usual. It's not coming in through the little slats.
Yeah, which is kind of nice, actually. But it seems like it's way later than it is. So, in case you guys didn't see my announcement earlier, I did announce it on the YouTube community tab, and I announced it on the Facebook page. We're just going to go straight 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for all the live streams, just so people aren't confused about, because, you know, I don't even know why we started doing it at 3 o'clock and some of them at 5 o'clock.
It didn't make any sense.
It didn't really make any sense. So honestly, it seems like easier for everybody to remember.
Yeah.
Just doing them all at 5. So basically, we'll just live stream like pretty much every day at 5, except for Thursdays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, whether it's movie review or whatever. So if you didn't see that announcement, that's what we're doing from now on. That's why we're like on here right now instead of at 3 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So, as we mentioned yesterday, we've gotten into we were in a Burt Reynolds thing, and now we're in a Charles Bronson thing.
Yeah, well, that's what they're showing for free.
I know. Yeah, so, like I said, we just kind of like wander around and like watch whatever's available for free.
YouTube's putting free Charles Bronson up.
Yeah, for whatever.
There's another one
reason.
called The Assassination, and they put that up today.
Yeah, so we're doing this one today, and then tomorrow we're going to do Mr. Majestic, because we watched that one last night, which actually I had seen when I was a kid. I thought I had seen this one too, but if I did, I didn't remember it. This came out in 1972, The Mechanic.
Now, Mr. Majestic's up there for free. That's good too. It's kind of like a neo-Western, where kind of like a Western-type farmer in California dealing with the damn mafia assassins. It's pretty good. In the 70s.
Yeah, I think that I can't remember what year that one was, but yeah. So this one, interestingly, I didn't know, and a couple people have brought this up. They actually did a remake of this movie in 2011 with Jason Statham.
I didn't see it.
I have not seen it either. I went and read the Wikipedia synopsis. It sounds kind of similar, not exactly similar, but it's kind of like the same thing about, you know, an assassin whose whole thing is to kind of like make the shit look like accidents.
Yeah. Like,
he's not just like plugging people from, you know, he's not going the easy way. He always has to make everything look like plausible deniability type of thing.
Yeah. He's kind of artistic about it.
Which to me, me, like, makes it more interesting, because honestly, the opening sequence of this, Charles Bronson doesn't actually talk all that. He does, but he doesn't really talk all that much, particularly in the first act of the film.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so for the first, like, 15 minutes of this, you're just basically seeing him doing a hit.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of like, and you're sitting there the whole time, like, you know he's rubbing out this dude, but you're not entirely sure
how it's gonna happen,
what it is that he's doing.
Yeah.
Because he, like, breaks into he's watching the guy from across the thing, and he's, like, breaking into the dude's apartment.
Right.
And
taking
then
pictures of things.
Taking pictures of all his shit in his apartment, like, where it's at and everything.
He goes out there and makes a gas leak and puts a damn little fucking igniter in a book and shoots it with a pellet gun, fucking blows the dude up. He puts some sedatives in his tea, too. Did a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah, so he'd fall asleep and he wouldn't be able to.
Wouldn't wake up.
Because I was like, well, obviously he's causing a gas leak. I got that. But then I was like, well, why is he poisoning the tea, though? That seems like overkill. But then it was because it was a sedative that he put in the tea so that he would be asleep and he wouldn't be able to be like, oh, no, that's, you know, there's a gas leak.
So I guess it's a good idea because, you know, you're getting paid to knock these dudes off and it looks like accidents. So the police don't look too much into it and there's no heat.
That's what I mean. It seems much, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, if I was in the mob,
that's what you'd want.
Which I'm not. Yeah, you would, or as far as you guys know. Yeah. But I mean, you would think that would be the way to go about it.
Yeah.
To me, it seems much easier, and I think like even the younger guy who's played by Jan Michael Vincent. Is it Jan or Jan? I don't know. Well, usually it's Jan if they spell it like that, but that's true.
The dude's from California.
Yeah, but he could, I don't know. But
Jan.
And you were right, it was Airwolf. He wasn't Airwolf.
Yeah.
I was confusing him with somebody else with three names. But so what was I even saying? Oh, okay. So he even says, you know, when he's kind of like in training and stuff, he's just kind of like, like pushing a motherfucker out a window or something. I was like, exactly. Like, why don't we see more movies about assassins who make shit look like accidents? Because to me, that just seems like it would be way better. It would keep... Because obviously, if you just, like I said, if you just plug a dude from across the fucking thing, obviously that's a murder, you know?
Yeah.
So it just seems like much easier to just blow up his apartment. Oh my God, it was a gas leak. It was a terrible accident. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It just seems like much better to me. So I really like that they explored that in this movie, because you don't really see much of that. Yeah. Usually a hitman, it's somebody that just like shoots people from windows and stuff, which to me seems less realistic.
Yeah. All right.
So, well, no, I'm just saying.
It's a pretty good movie. It's like, it surprised me. I thought it was going to be kind of like a shallow shoot 'em up type of a movie. It's not. It's got a lot of psychological drama in it. It's got some weird, pretty good camera angles. The score is good. The story's real good. The acting isn't always that good. But then sometimes you find out that there's a reason why the acting isn't that good. It's not that good because the person's not a good actor. Like, the person is playing a role in the movie, and they're not that good.
Yeah, the one scene that you're talking about is the scene with Jill Ireland, who, please correct me if I'm wrong, but was not Jill Ireland, I think she was married to Charles Bronson at this point, or am I just like completely talking out my ass right now? I thought they were married at some point. But there's one scene where he goes to her apartment, and Tom's watching this scene going, is she just like a really shitty actress, or what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And because she's like acting like his girlfriend. Oh, I wrote you a love letter, and she's like reading it to him, and it's like super cringe.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow, she's a terrible actress. But then it turns out that she's a prostitute.
Yeah.
And he pays her to pretend
pretend in certain ways.
Like she's really into him, and she's his girlfriend, and she's written him all these letters and missed him and stuff like that. Because the whole point of his character is he's this very stoic, supposedly mostly emotionless sort of like killing machine.
Yeah, the way I kind of took it is that he's a serial killer.
Yeah,
he's actually a serial killer because he's got a real abusive childhood. He's kind of raised by gangsters. I think he's a little bit autistic. I think he's gay.
What's interesting about that? Although I will say that I don't think he's a complete sociopath, because there are little hints in there that he is kind of like, because he has that stress ball, like that wax thing that he's always like fucking with, and he's having kind of like some sort of problems.
Yeah.
So he does have, but interestingly, it's interesting you say that, because when we were watching the movie, you were kind of like, picking up on a lot of like gay subtext. Yeah. And I said, yeah, I see that, but it's like they didn't really do anything with it in the movie, though. Like, they didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
Interestingly, though, I looked up on the Wikipedia page the original screenplay.
Yes, I knew there was going to be some original shit.
The two guys, it was supposed to be like explicitly gay.
That's what I figured.
But this was 1972. Yeah. And they said no producers, they couldn't get any funding for the movie with that. And a lot of the actors that they considered for it, like George C. Scott, was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing any of that gay shit.
Yeah.
So they took it out. And Michael Winner, who was the director, he also did the Death Wish movies. And he did The Sentinel, that really good horror movie. He was like really disappointed because he said, well... He's like, I liked the whole psychological angle of this older assassin, like, training this younger one. Yeah. But he's like, I also wanted there to be this extra layer of sexual manipulation, like there was in the original screenplay, but they made him take most of it out.
Yeah, although I figured that because
they made him take it out because they wouldn't.
Because there's a lot of shit that kind of goes down in this movie. Kind of sounds like something that homosexual serial killers and stuff shit would do and would fantasize about. Because in a way, some weird stuff. He hooks up, or he's working for this one guy who's hiring him to kill a bunch of people in this organization. And he meets his boss's, or one of his clients' son. And there's an eye contact scene there, and I goes, man, that's some gay eye contact. Says they're looking at each other. I said, did you see that, Jenny? She's like, no. And I said, no.
Well, no, I did, but then I was like, well, I didn't know if they were going to do anything with it, and then they didn't do anything with it, because the thing that I thought was like, well, I kind of figured this is 1972. I was like, I didn't think Charles Bronson would be in anything that had any kind of like homosexual subtext to it. So I was just kind of like, but I did, I was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So I was kind of like, let me see if they do anything with that.
Right.
It's pretty low key, but like I said, it was very explicit in the original screenplay, but they couldn't do it.
And then Charles Bronson gets a mission to kill that dude. There's definitely like some shit going on between them two. They're even traveling around, going to fucking funerals and stuff. Well, then Bronson kills that dude's dad and they go to the funeral together, and the kid is like, yeah, fuck that dude, I got all this shit now. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
And then and fucking Bronson didn't tell him that he killed his dad.
He doesn't find out until later.
Kind of becomes his dad in a certain way, or at least he thinks he is. And then they go to the Jan Michael Vincent, to his girlfriend's house, and he helps the girlfriend try to kill herself. And the motherfucker's ruthless.
Well, she says she's going to kill herself, and he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, go ahead, do it. I'll be over there. And him and Charles Bronson just like sit there and watch her.
Yeah, and then he kind of shamed her when she didn't. Okay, you got about an hour. Go ahead. Here, go to the hospital.
Here, go to the hospital.
And I'm going like, okay. So I took that as gay, too. You know what I mean? He's giving up the woman, and he's joining up. They're bonding together over sacrificing the girlfriends. He sacrifices his dad and his girlfriend, and then all of a sudden they're a team now, you know. And I and every time they're fucking showing each other, it's got Jan Michael Vince's damn crotch in the fucking.
Well, they do introduce him with a crotch shot.
Yeah, and then he's talking to Bronson, and you just see Bronson behind his crotch, like his, you know, the angles. You know what I'm talking about? It's like basically what they're trying to tell you is that fucking Bronson, he's under the control of that dick. That dick's controlling him.
Well, that's Michael Winner might have been mad because he was mad. There was like a quote on the website, on Wikipedia, where he said, "I really wish we could have explored that because I wanted to add that extra layer of like sexual manipulation." Yeah. But he was mad that they took that out. So he might have shot it. Yeah. He might have shot it like to, you know, if you weren't really looking for it, you know, maybe it wouldn't. But there was like a subtext in there.
I picked up on it.
But yeah, so
the symbolism in all the in the camera angles and all the fucking the way they were looking at each other.
And that kind of made me wonder, because I haven't seen the remake with Jason Statham.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, from what I could glean from what I read about it, like I read the plot synopsis and a couple reviews of it and stuff, I think that they took that angle out entirely in the remake. It seems like, and I'm not sure, I haven't seen it, so I could be totally wrong, but it seems like they went way more like in a straight up father-son type dynamic rather than like maybe
it was the couples.
I mean, because I mean Charles Bronson was quite a bit older than you know, not that much older, I guess, because Charles Bronson
15-20 years.
Yeah, it was, you know, something like that. And Jan Michael Vincent wasn't, I mean, he was young, but he wasn't like weird young or anything.
Early 30s.
Yeah, so the thing about it is that, you were supposed to, like, see this connection between them because Charles Bronson's character, whose name is Bishop, by the way, that was his last name, and he recognizes in this younger kid this same kind of, like, sociopathy, I guess. He's like, he'd probably be really good at this. Yeah. Because he doesn't really seem to give a shit about anything. And he was really smart, and he was, like, a quick learner, and he's kind of, like, figuring out, hey, you know, all these different ways that you could go around killing these people. Yeah. Because what they would do is they would get a call, or they would get a package in the mail, like a box, and it would have all this information about whoever the target was. And then they would study the target, and they're just kind of like, okay, well, what's the best way to go about this to make it look like an accident? And then, so they would spend a few days doing that, and then they would get the phone call that says, okay, go ahead with it at your discretion. So I guess that he had, you know, Charles Bronson had apparently been working for this organization for a long time and was like the best one they had. So they kind of left it to him how he best wanted to approach it to, again, like, make it look like plausible deniability, make it look like an accident. Like, when he killed the guy's dad, the kid's dad, Keenan Wynn, was who played him. When he killed him, he basically set it up so he shot at the dude, but he made it look like, or he made it seem like a sniper was shooting at him and that he was trying to help him. And then he made him, like, run around, and, like, because he knew he had a weak heart. And so he was trying to, like, get him to have a heart attack, like, by freaking him out. So he would do shit like that. So like I said, I just really liked that angle of them trying to, like, figure out what's the best way to kill this person without you know, attracting any attention.
I thought that was just more of a sideshow angle to it, though. I mean, that was cool. What I thought was weird was just the grooming aspect.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, more like the grooming this guy to be a replacement for him, this replacement assassin. But then and he's kind of like a pet project. And it turns out the greater organization finds out about it. And they're like, so you brought him on as a replacement for you without...
Or like an assistant without asking
us. And are like, that's... So I believe they put him on a mission to kill him. And didn't he take it?
Well, the thing about it, he did have a mission, I think, because he did have one of those boxes. Yeah. But I think it turned out later that he hadn't actually got the phone call saying to kill him. He was just doing it for funsies.
Right. So anyway, these two assassins, they were in this relationship. They don't really spell it out in the movie, but I picked up on it. They decided that it should have been there. I agree.
Well, the director would have agreed with you. Yeah, because he really was pissed that they took that out.
The movie would have been a lot better. The 70s, I guess, weren't. You would think the 70s would be ready for that, because he was already a creepy fuck. It was kind of like that damn serial killer who was fucking capturing them kids and making them fight each other to death on that board. What was that guy's name?
Who was that? Dean Corll?
Dean Corll. Yeah, this is like some Dean Corll type shit. Although he's not a sexual sadist, but they're just fucking killers, you know. And Dean Corll,
just like cold-blooded.
Yeah, and Dean Corll picked up a damn assistant, and then in the end they fucking turned on each other. But it's kind of like that.
Yeah, so it was kind of similar to that.
I'm telling you, yeah. So it was kind of like a serial killer type situation.
Because, man, these two were fucking cold-blooded, man. Yeah. The one scene where his girlfriend calls and says, I'm going to kill myself or whatever, and he's just like, yeah, whatever, do it. Yeah. And so then they go over there, like him and Charles Bronson go over there, and she's like has this whole thing set up. Yeah. You know, and she just like slices her wrists and like just sits there, and he's asking, how long do you think it'll take her to like bleed to death? And Charles Bronson's like, how much do you weigh?
Yeah, he knew everything.
And she says, and he's like, oh, probably about 3.5, 4 hours. Yeah. So they just kind of like sit there and watch her.
Yeah. Watch her slowly bleed.
And I was just like, God damn, that's some cold-blooded shit right there.
Yeah. and fucking Bishop is just judging whether or not this kid is actually, if he's just fucking around, if he's really going to do it.
Yeah, it was almost like a test.
He was going to do it. And then... But no, it's a good movie. It's got a lot of little psychological angles in it, and it's kind of true to life. There was people doing this kind of stuff, and that gay element should have been in there. I agree with it, because the movie makes so much more sense with that in there.
Well, and like I said, it adds a whole other level. Yeah. It adds a whole other layer of like psychological fuckery.
Yeah, because Bishop, the Bishop character is like a super individualist, kind of like outsider. He's living in a secret underworld of these fucking assassins and shit. And he's far outside society. He talks about being above all of this, and you have to step outside of it. He's talking about society and the world and everything to see how to knock somebody off or how to get a mission done. You can't be emotional about it, or at least when you're doing the planning phase. So all that shit is kind of, so he was stepping outside himself. He's step outside of the world, outside of society, outside of his damn gender, I guess, or whatever, outside of what society's expectations were. Just like a true, he's going to do it his own way. He didn't care. He didn't care what other people thought.
Yeah, he really did live in this kind of like, and interesting too, because he obviously was okay for money. Like he looked like
he was rich.
Yeah, like he looked like he was rich. So yeah, he had this big house. He was very Hannibal Lecter in the sense that he was very into like classical music and art and like wine collections. And
and his house was all fucking fantastically decorated, and he had all kinds of like, he was big into like Attila the Hun and fucking, you know, warlords of the past and medieval stuff inside the house and weaponry and shit. So he was, I guess you could say, he was kind of like, he was a fucking man's man, you know, fucking very warrior, fucking oriented, and he was gonna be fucking whoever he wanted to fuck, you know, and he was into this other guy and was gonna turn him into an assassin like him, and they were just in their own little universe, and yeah, it's just a good story, man. It makes a lot more sense when you're looking at the story from that angle. As soon as I saw him make the eye contact, the way that was shot, I knew what the director was trying to tell me. So I saw it like that through the whole movie.
But like I said, he really had to like keep it on the DL, I guess, because
I understood what the director was trying to say.
Which is weird because, like you said, in the 70s, I kind of feel like although I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. There was like some openly gay characters in the 70s, but I feel like 1972 they were still used as kind of like comic relief type characters.
Yeah, C-3PO.
Or or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know necessarily.
They didn't want to show any other aspects outside that. You know what I mean?
And I'm not really sure if Charles Bronson would have agreed to be in it if that had still been in there. They didn't say anything about that on the Wikipedia page, but they said that like that George C. Scott was one of the actors that they considered at first, and he said that he wouldn't do it.
I'm sure he knew. Okay. I think what it was is there was a compromise. There wasn't going to be any explicit discussion of it, but it's there. It's there. It's just not discussed, but it's just demonstrated in the camera angles and fucking how they're reacting to each other, but it's just not discussed. You can interpret it either way.
Yeah.
But if you understand film and how directors and shit, a good director, how they shoot things, I know exactly what it was.
Which again,
when he's sitting there talking to fucking Bishop and they're showing the camera shot from fucking his crotch angle and Bishop far away.
Yeah, like sitting on the patio.
Yeah, I'm going like you know what's controlling him type of deal, you know, or what he's trying to control him with. It was sexual in connotations. But like I said, it's not explicit. It's just...
Well, I'm sure Michael Winter wanted to leave some of that in there, and then, but if somebody called him on it, he'd be like, what? No, it's not. Yeah.
Oh, you got a dirty mind.
Yeah, no, that just must be you thinking it. And I didn't put that in there.
Fucking, I think Bronson knew. I think he knew, and I think he would agree with me and the director that's
Probably.
What that should have been.
I really liked him in this role, to be honest. I thought he was really, really good in it, and I really liked, like I said, I liked the whole first part of it where he didn't even talk, but it was still like really, really like riveting. Yeah,
with that angle, it makes a movie more alien. It does, because there's no other movie like this, and there isn't a character that I can think of that's like that. Not in any kind of action movie.
Yeah, he was really like a fascinating character for being like so stoic, right? And so cold-blooded and like reptilian a little bit. Although, like I said,
there autistic a little bit.
There were some hints though that he was bothered by it. Like I said, because there was that whole like that wax ball, like a stress ball. They didn't have stress balls back then, but it was the same principle, you know, and shit like that. So there was kind of like hints that there were like cracks appearing in his armor, I guess. But again, that was kept very subtle. Zach says, I've never heard of this movie, but it sounds super similar to a script I wrote a few years ago, and now I'm kind of creeped out.
Yeah, go see it. It's for free on YouTube.
Yeah, you can watch it for free on YouTube.
Yeah, Mechanic is good.
They remade it, as I mentioned, in 2011 with Jason Statham.
Yeah.
And it sounds fairly similar. Like I said, it you know, they changed up the way they killed people and everything, but the reviews that I read of it, I just read a couple reviews, and most people said it's fine as like action type movies go, but it's like this movie didn't really need to be remade.
Yeah.
But the remake was actually so successful that they ended up doing a sequel to it in 2016 called The Mechanic Resurrection.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that the remake didn't end the same way that this movie did.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really sure how they would make a sequel to the first one.
Zach, you'd like this movie. The tone is not your average 70s action movie. It's got a lot of 70s action in it. But the tone of the movie is very eerie. It's very eerie.
Yeah,
it's
that's
very
a good
It's very much what you're dealing with is Dean Coral. And Dean Coral going out killing people, and then he meets up with this younger guy, and they're killing these people together, and there's a lot of undertones and shit, and then eventually they turn on each other. And it's just got a creepy vibe to it. They're both perverts, basically. They both are. Not so much the sexuality, it's just that they get off on killing people.
Yeah.
You know? And you'll see. It's good.
And Mike Barrett's bringing up 10 to Midnight. Actually, I want to do that eventually, too, because I remember really liking that movie. Let's see. Ian England said he's seen the remake. Remake is just a generic action flick.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I figured. Probably. I mean, all the reviews said, it's fine. It's just there's nothing real, compelling about it.
See this one. This one's a masterpiece of what it is. It's not perfect. It has some rough spots in it. But no, I got it. It's a good movie. I would say it kind of reminds me in a certain way. Remember the Professional?
Yeah.
You have the kind of the slow dude with the fucking little young girl.
Yeah.
that's also kind of hinting that he's sleeping with that younger girl. That it's
Yeah, I got that vibe too.
You know what I mean? It's not explicitly spoken of, but you assume that must be what's going on.
But I mean, it is a little weird for
Similar.
like a grown man to like be wagging around like a little girl that's not his daughter.
Yeah.
Like teaching her how to do that.
Yeah, and he kind of got her because her family got wiped out by some gangsters, so he just takes her in. Yeah.
Zach says it's kind of sad how only in the last decade there's been any interesting gay-themed movies that aren't totally tragic. Yeah, it does seem like, honestly, even up until, I want to say like up until the 90s or even the early 2000s. Yeah. Like it seemed like if you had a gay character, they always had something bad happen to them.
This is not a gay-themed movie, though.
No, it's not. But it's definitely the subtext.
It has a subtext, but that's not what the movie's about. The movie's about these fucking psychos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like...
Yeah. And they're interesting, though. They're fucking psychos, but they're interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it.
And it showed to you in a 70s format, which is weird to see it in the 70s context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, like I said, I thought I had seen this movie back in the day, but I don't think I did. Like I said, I did see a lot of Charles Bronson movies a long time ago.
This is one of his best ones I've seen so far.
Yeah, same. I really dug this one. Dug this one. Like I said,
Mr. Majestic was good, but this one has very special.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about Mr. Majestic tomorrow because we watched that one last night. I think I liked this one slightly better just because it was darker, weirder. Like the whole psychology was was a lot more fascinating. Yeah. Whereas, Mr. Majestic was kind of just more like a straightforward. Yeah. Was more straightforward, I guess.
Neo-Western.
Yeah. Kinda. Whereas the mechanic was kind of more, like I said, it delved into darker psychological kind of shit.
Serial killer type shit.
Yeah. John Goris, this movie made me gay.
Look, man, you guys see this movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not explicitly stated, but the movie it's not as good without that text. Without that subtext makes the movie makes it make a lot more sense. It makes a lot more sense, and it's weirder that these dudes were a thing, but now they're gonna kill each other, and they know it. It's fucking
because at first he's kind of like, hey, this is my little like assistant, and he's isn't he awesome? Like I'm teaching him all this stuff, and he's really good at it. And then they start like turning on one another.
And then there's like this, when there's a fucking sexual subtext to this. That's like killing your girlfriend or something. But they're gonna do it anyway. But that's a kind of cold blooded they were, and that goes back to kind of like the D. Coral story. They're killing other people, then they try to kill each other.
Yeah, because eventually that shit will come back.
Right, and that's what you're dealing. That's what you're dealing with here.
Yeah, Mango says Bronson is the melon farmer.
Yeah, yeah, that was the melon farmer. Majestic. That was a good movie, though.
Yeah, I liked that a lot. Too, like I said, I remember seeing that one when I was younger.
You can see that's where they ripped off all the John Wick shit. I just want my dog back, or it's because of my dog. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, he just is trying to get the melons. Trying to get those melons out of the ground.
I mean, I understand the John Wick thing more though, because if you killed my dog or my cat, I would totally like haunt you to the end of the earth. Sorry, and like tear your fucking head off and shit down your neck. That's what I would do. But don't touch his melons, haha. So but yeah, so we're gonna talk about Mr. Majestic, the melon farmer, tomorrow. But so this movie, again, a lot of Charles Bronson's old movies are free on YouTube with ads, so you can go and watch them. And this one is like really, really good.
This one, 10 out of 10.
Recommend it.
10 out of 10. It's a classic. You got to see it. Yeah, it's a must see.
Yeah, so we might be on a Charles Bronson kick for a while. So we'll see.
They sent me all the death wishes too on Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's
DVD,
right.
So we got to get to those too.
Michael Winner directed those as well. Yeah. Same director as the mechanic.
Okay.
All right, so that'll do it for today. Again, going to be talking about Mr. Majestic tomorrow. So we'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because we're changing the time up. All of the live streams are going to be at 5 p.m. in case you weren't here earlier, because it was just easier for everyone involved. So yeah, thanks for dropping by today, everybody, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye.